Hello. Second time today. And this channel is dedicated to processing my relationship with Quentin Tarantino. I'm the reason he canceled the movie Critic last April. I've written a novel about it, building a Coven. And so I'm reading through the novel, right? 130,000 words. We're currently 106 pages in. 479 pages. Double spaced, right? And it's not complete, right? But it's reached a condition, right, that I feel that it behooves me to discuss it in public. There's no more, right? There's no more occulted guilt, right? There's no more secrecy, right? There's no more whatever this is, right? So, right, Quentin has conspired to compel me to madness and suicide for over a year now. And now that he has been unsuccessful, he has descended into disgusting base black magic to actually try to use his mind to destroy my body. And so, right, I have a lot that I can say about that. And so I'm going to pick up where I left off, and then we'll go from there. The set gets underway, and I'm flying with a good buzz. And as the third song gets to this really beautiful refrain of breathe, like this. Breathe, 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 breathe. I ask Asa, is this foliage? He nods, appearing to be inebriated upon something. It is, as is so often the case with Clam, a beautiful one-of-a-kind song. I go to get water and use the bathroom at set break. A girl stands in line next to me. The scene is pure chaos. 5,000 people siphoned into this tunnel of shit. She appears to be fucked up. Blonde, pretty, rabid and feral. Woo! Free Britney! She yanks her nipple out and gives us a 1-second flash. Free Britney! I laugh with several others. She looks completely wrecked to me. Woo! Yeah, hell yeah, fuck yeah, free Britney. She flashed us several more times and decried her desire to see Britney free constantly until we parted ways. I could say more about the music, of course. Hearing these songs in this way again always brings me to bliss. Live music, the Great Communion, everything that church is supposed to be. The recognition that there is, in fact, something greater than you. And it's now, this moment. And now, as before, and to come, I leave excited and recharged. Leaving these things is always a chore, especially here in this giant venue. I gave my hugs, high fives, mutual gazes of camaraderie, and began the trek back. Between the heart of the venue and my campsite is over 1 mile. Upon exiting the venue, the cattle herd is prodded by Gary-type-looking motherfuckers, or the complete opposite. Inner city disparaged youth unaware of the bliss, seeking it in tacky LA chum, i.e. rap culture, if that is an appropriate word. But they direct through megaphones with hand signals, and the thousands mull from here to there, talking cash shit. Sometimes I speak, often I observe, make jokes, try to make people laugh. Eventually, we're all siphoned into a narrow corridor. It feels like the opposite of an overpass, a land bridge, where it has the wildlife crossing over the people, as with traffic. But the echo of the concrete always ensures some wily attempt at rebel yells and the like. Tonight is no exception, one long-sustained woo! An A. One final moment of togetherness. Crossing out of the organized formality of the venue into the open-air drug market of the campground is signified by the hiss. It has been suggested, and I suppose I am inclined to agree, that the tanks of nitrous oxide are brought in and buried before anyone arrives. And true, while entering into the venue in big, plain fucking language, a sign, private property, no trespassing. And that tells you everything, doesn't it? Whomever has access to this land, this venue, has connections. A cabal of drugged-up dentists from Pennsylvania, and they open the gates a week before the season starts, escort a 4-wheel drive truck with a flatbed trailer full of 100-pound tanks, and take them around the magic circle, the fairy ring, invisible to the uninitiated, and open up a hatch revealing a prepper bunker descending some 4 feet up to 7 feet in the earth, and they fill that fucking thing up. Maybe there are 2 or 3 of them. And when the air is most still, most secret, and most grave, right when the show starts, the syndicate, the nitrous mafia, the sleaziest guys on these lots start their shift, which runs from sunset to sunrise. As long as money is to be made, we'll hear the hiss. The pop is the signal of the open market. Back at my campground, I hear a band playing The Fortunate Corpse, which I love, but don't usually love hearing other people play it. But these cats got a ragtime jug band feel to them, laced with psychedelia, multiple singers, lady singer, Donna Jeans era. Ugh. Walking towards the action with the tank hissing away right next to the band, I see the convocation playing the PVC game. I watch with piqued interest for 3 minutes. The beach ball is vaulted up through the board, perhaps in a particular pattern, but it seems they've created a new kind of volleyball, a hyperdimensional volleyball, where, in a corporal world, a volleyball net is singular and the teams on either side of it. Here, in the eternity of abstraction, there are 9 nets, with the center being thus benetted round with villainies. The volume is ideal. How many times have I been to Clam and these fucking guys just blow your fucking eardrums out? We get it. You play with amplifiers just like Clam. 3 guys, 2 from Montana, 1 from Colorado, are camped right next to me. Earnest, simple guys. I see them and approach. What a show. Did you guys have a good time? The 2 from Montana appear to be winding down. 1 entreats, yeah, it was awesome. We're laying down. I nod. Good night. The Colorado guy gestures to an open chair across from him at a small square table. I sit. He produces a capsule. You want a bump? I put some in these capsules and mixed it in with a bunch of supplements. Sure, thanks. He opens the capsule and chalks out 2 lines on a small tray. He rolls up a dollar bill, snorts 1, hands me the dollar. I reply in kind, shove my nose towards the sky and breathe deep before handing him back the bill as well as the tray. So what do you do? I work on the mountain. I see. A ski bum then? Yeah. You got a family? Got kids? Shame flushes over his face. Or embarrassment, if not shame. A layer of guile he is unprepared to remove. No. Now I feel guilty. Oh, I don't either. Yeah, you're a ski bum, I get it. I suspect he is a closet gay. And now there is a tension in the air. After a minute or 2 of poise, awkward silence, whatever you want to call it, he makes his escape. I'm gonna lay down. I appreciate the bump. I'll see you tomorrow. He nods and disappears into the tent. I go get my guitar and begin walking towards I know not where, perusing the landscape with a wide open eye. As I walked, I reflected on that guy, how sad and lonely he seemed, and I had the thought, is this how people see me? Plucking nothing in particular, a group carouse at their sight to my left, and a guy entreats me. You want to come play us a song? Hang out? Sure. I approach and they offer me a chair. Salutations abound, 7 people, men and women. I adopt the posture and begin shredding. After some minutes bouncing between getting to know each other and me playing for my very life, with fingers like lightning. The same guy, Caleb, a mountain man from Crested Butte, him and his woman Angie, suggests, you can just hang out. You don't have to sing us anything if you don't want. I am a singer. I guess the muse is distant for now. He nods. They all seem to be in rapt attention. Caleb asks, so what are you into? I've realized I'm a writer. I write. I'm a literature nerd. By trade, professional vagabond, if anything. I had a good idea for a story, a book. Yeah? Cool. I'm not a writer, so I'll just tell you the thought. Let's hear it. I heard not long ago, and this is not a political statement, though I suppose it can be easily misconstrued, but I heard that the COVID vaccine has, in certain instances, caused... Nice pregnant pause as he looks to me and everyone else. Early onset dementia. He leans back. Puts his hands up and looks to me with an eager eye. I think on it for a second, and then I get it. I see. So society degrades back to the Dark Ages because everyone becomes demented and stupid as a result of the vaccine. He snaps his fingers and points to me with a smile. Yeah, that's not a bad premise. First person, and the book can get worse as it goes along. Barely readable by the end of it. I chuckle. It's a good idea, I admit. Caleb asks, we're going to the river tomorrow. You want to come? Yeah, hell yeah, let's do it. I don't have a suit, but I have shorts. That sounds fun. How long will you be there? Oh, just a few hours, not long. I ask because I want to get close to the band, so I need to be back here by, say, 3 o'clock. He nods in understanding. You'll be back in time. Cool. It's getting late. I suppose I'll go. I'll see you all tomorrow. Have a great night. They all offer salutations and embraces, one after the other, until all are accounted for in my heart, and I depart, heading back the way I came, east-southeast. They are still playing at the witching hour when I descend into restless slumber. I'll stop there. Right, so the novel is about my experiences with Quentin Tarantino and the movie Critic, right? Right. In the novel, I've quit my job to pursue the arts, right? Being a writer, right? And so Quentin's going to emerge in perhaps 100 pages from now. Right? And so, right, I had no choice but to talk about it every day. Right? That's why I'm back on here again. Right? I released almost an hour-long video earlier today. Right? But we have to talk about it every day. We have to bring it to the forefront. Right? It's time to resolve it. Right? I made this mistake. It's my fault. It's my fault. Right? Right? But if we continue in this way, right, he's left me no choice in terms of my reasoning, right, in terms of my logic, right, my understanding of the matter. That if there is no true reconciliation, right, if it's, right, I'm famous, you're not, I don't have to acknowledge you, I can play my fucked up mind games with you, right, then I have no choice but to assume, right, that he is trying to destroy me with his mind. That is the point. Yes, that's the point, right? That there's no other way to interpret it. Right? And so, I'm on the warpath. I'm reading from this novel every day. My mother's coming into the room. Hello, how are you? And that's okay. See, this is another testament, right? He tells everyone I'm mad, right? My mother is here, right? I live with my family. I am not unwell in my mind. Wisdom appears as madness to the uninitiated, right? Has he put me in a state to where I've said many things that I regret to my mother? She'd be the first one to hop in front of this camera and say, yeah, he went too far 1,000 times. Right? But she doesn't understand, right? She doesn't understand, right? And that's not her fault, right? That's no one's fault. That's my job. I see that now. That's why, right? I'm here to initiate, right, the populace, right, to bring everyone up, right, to help you understand, right, that the mind is non-local, right, that there is no dead space, right, there is inert space, right, but it is not dead, right, it is permeated, right, with the perfect nested hologram of all strata convocations of manifested reality, as well as the conscious expressive thought force of deity of God the Father, right? And so that conscious awareness, right, is the celestial zephyr. It is a cosmic psychic pressure which mutates that static perfection of the hologram into the crepuscular shadows that we experience as measurable reality, right? And so, as it pertains to Quentin, right, you localize your individuality elsewhere. And if you are wise, right, if you know what you're looking at, right, the mind will reveal the location, right, what's being said, what's being done, right? This is because the mind is everywhere. That's the point, right? And so in the spirit of that, right, now we'll discuss this book that I've been reading for a moment, which I found in the trash, sorting trash. What is Light, right? Written by a Dutch scientist in the 70s. What is light? Right? And so, despite the fact that that book was written in the 70s, right? We have to talk about something that was discovered in the 20s or the teens even, right? By Niels Bohr, right? By the godfathers, the progenitors of the quantum model, right? Of quantum mechanics. That they found this peculiar condition called the trouble with measurement. Right? That they said, oh, light has this weird sort of quality to it. We don't know. Like, I can't, right? When we're not looking at it, it behaves as a wave, right? That it's smeared, right? It's like spread out into an area, right? Into a volumetric area, right? But then, right, when you observe it, right, when you look at it, right, it collapses into a corpuscular photon, right? It collapses into a particle, right? And so this is Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, right? Like this is what he's talking about, right? This is why Walter White decided on him as an alias in Breaking Bad, because Vince Gilligan's a smart guy, right? Heisenberg's uncertainty principle says that you can never know with absolute certainty how fast a particle is going and what direction it is traveling in, right? That it's always a ratio. You sacrifice the validity of one measurement for the validity of the other, right? That something is either moving, right? Or it is solid, right? That it's not, there's never a solid moving something, right? And so this is the trouble with measurement. And so my point now, right, my point, guardian angel of the world, right, is that God exists as an abstraction in every cubic centimeter of space, right? And that hologram is a perfectly nested quantum potential, right? That everything is an abstract, right, waveform potential, right? And through the conscious pressure of God's knowing, God's omniscience, pushing its motion through, right, the quantum waveform, it collapses it and mutates it, right, out of a probability into what we perceive as a corpuscular, solid fucking table that this computer is on right now, right? That's the point, right? That's the point. Right? And so when you push your thoughts out, right? When you say, oh, I want to see the edges of what my mind can achieve, right? The reality is that if you actually are wise, your mind has no limitations because mind has no limitation, right? Any limitation does not exist. That's the point, right? Everything that exists is a reflection of a psychic pressure upon a static, perfect, quantum potential wave field, right? That everything resides within itself, and it's through the conscious pressure of the conscious field that we see manifested reality emerge. And so that's what the psychic clairvoyant does in his mind, right? That's what the sorcerer does, right? That's what the voodoo practitioner does, right? That they're fracturing the hologram, right, of the victim, right? And mutating it to serve the end of their will, of their desire, of their intention, right? This is Aleister Crowley's point when he says, will is the law, right? Do as thou wilt, will is the law, right? Liber 777, right? That this is what he's talking about, right? That reductionist materialistic science says, oh no, it doesn't matter how those protein chains build inside of cells. There is no, right? There's only consciousness in man, right? That's all, right? And so what I'm saying is that's an ignorant, arrogant supposition, right? There's an adolescent level, right? That there's a level of understanding, right? When you're brought to church, right, as a child, right? And the preacher says fire and brimstone things to put you in some sort of fear of some sort of, overarching, judgmental, grandfather, Zeus in the clouds type, right? And that is an amateur, childish understanding of reality, right? This is dogmatic indoctrination designed to make people pay taxes, right? That's the point. We have to liberate, right? We have to elevate our understanding, right, of what life actually is, right? And it is an intellectual reflex, right? Right? Morals and Dogma, Albert Pike. God is not a jealous God, right? God is not a vengeful God. God is not a wrathful God, right? These are all, right? These are logical fallacies which emerge through the psychology of the human author of those books, right? That's the actual condition, right? That God, right, is an abstract intellectual principle, right? Which is the conscious exertion of pressure upon, right, the quantum probability waveform of all of creation, right? And so I'm getting a phone call, 1 second. Right? And so this is what any psychic is doing, right? And so when you meditate on these forms, right, when I bring this back, right, when you meditate, right, on these forms, right, that you're pulling, right, you're bringing into you, right, it's like a relay, right, it's a rebounding upon itself, right, that the conscious field is comprised of these, which are abstract quantum manifolds, which are corrupted through consciousness into manifestation, right, that this is how the world comes into being, right, there is no other way, right. You can say that life is an accident, which is equally valid intellectually. However, it's shallow and bears no real weight intellectually. Right? And so Quentin, right, conspired to overwhelm my brain and compel me to blow my brains out. Right? This is what he's done. He's tried to involve me into something involving love, something involving emotions and the heart. And now that that's run its course, right? When I turned it all on him and said, "Oh, okay, so, right? How about this? How about that? How about this? How about that?" Then it's, "Oh no, I don't. No, there is nothing. It's just a sick, fucked up game. It's just a joke, right? Ha 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 ha. I wanted you to blow your brains out, right? I don't expect to spend any real time with you, right?" So in that moment when I realized, oh, okay, when I fully comprehended the condition, right, I thought, now what's next, right? Now what is he prepared to do, right? And so he has escalated it, right? He took my fear, right, which I knew immediately, right, because I've always known how to destroy anyone with my mind. It's easy, right? And he has done, right, disgusting, vulgar things, which will ripple out to the edges of eternity and beyond. The two of us are bound together forever, right? And in so doing, right, in so behaving that way, right, in so thinking, yes, this is, I can do that, right? That he has given me permission, right, to say, okay, well, I can do this, right? Right? And so now, right, I'm just in perpetual fear that he's going to send people to murder me, right? But I have to build the apparatus, right? And so I've ordered the material, right? It'll be here later this week, all right? And I'm going to show it on here. It'll be a 2-foot cube, right? It'll be kind of gangly, maybe like this big, right? And I'll walk you through how it works completely, right? And explain to you that this is the same game, that it's all the same game. It's the I'm going to use my mind to destroy someone, right, from afar, right? Oh, that I have a mind, right, which is God's mind, right, and I can abuse my knowing, right, to wreak havoc on those that cannot protect themselves, right? That's this is right. Now we're caught up. Right? This is the condition, right? And so the truth of the matter is that I can hang, right? I know what time it is, right? And so I suffer, I endure, right? But no more, right? I'm talking about it in the light of day, right? We're going to have it to where we both understand each other, right? That there's no misunderstanding, there's no misconceptions, right? That he wants to play the psychic mind torture game, right? There is no such thing as legal precedent for psychic assassination, right? Right? So we're out on the frontier right now, right? And what I'm saying right now, right, is that, right, I can prove it, right? But I don't want to kill anybody, right? If I die in the next month, right, it's because of Quentin Tarantino, right? There's no other reason. There's no other reason. I go to mass, right? I write calligraphy thank you notes to for the United Way to people who donate for them, right? So that's the type of guy. That's the type of guy who deserves to get murdered at the witching hour. Does that make sense to anybody? Might be something else to that story, right? My point is that it's time to release the footage, right? It's time to, right? You and me, press conference, right? You go your way, right? You pay me, right? And we're good. I posit that we will never be free of each other psychologically unless we make the movie. This is what I said in my previous video, right? That God is hovering over us, right? Like a celestial parasol. And he's judging all of us accordingly, right? And saying, there's one path to redemption, right? And that's love and reconciliation, right? Right? The resurrection, right, of what it was supposed to be, right? All he had to do was wash his hands, right? $100,000, right? For the best scene in that fucking movie. So there's the NDA. You blew it. Right? So, now it's all blown sky high. Right? Right? Just a crazy guy. Right? And so what I'm saying is that remote viewing, clairvoyance, right, psychic phenomenon, right, all of the telepathy, telekinesis, psychokinesis, thaumaturgy, right, all of these things, right, referred to as magic and sorcery in centuries past, right, it is the adept, right, mutating the hologram through his intention into the desired result, right, like that's it, right, it's not a long convoluted process, right, life has an intellectual origin, right. The highest filter, right, of said expression is man's brain, right? That we coagulate more of the hologram within us, right? By meditating on these things, right? Right, by meditating on that, right? By putting all of these in your mind, right? In your mind's eye, right? To where you stack them all on top of each other, right? And so this is what that's mentioned in the letters that I sent to Ari, right? That this game that he's playing at right now, right? Like this costs me nothing, right? They've seen me reference nothing, right? Like this is all, right? It's nothing, right? All that, all this, right? No books, right? I've already read the books, right? That the game that he's playing at, right? Is the same thing as if I collapse every single one of these, right? Stacked inside of each other into anyone's mind in an instant, right? And so what I'm saying is that there's quite a lot going on right here, isn't there? Right? That's a lot. That's a lot of relationships, right? And so if your brain is base, right? If your mind is not annealed, right? That convocation right there that my mother's walking past, right?
Excuse me.
When pushed into someone who is physically, right, in terms of the actual structure of their brain, incapable of processing the electrical condition, it will short-circuit it, right, into an aneurysm or a stroke. This is, like, that's the game, right? Like, that's the same game. It's the same game, right? So, he involves emotions, right? He makes it about sex, right? He makes it base, right? I blast anybody with raw divinity, right? It's the same game, right? And so now he's elevated it into the realm of heaven and hell, apex evil, right? And so, right? I'm talking about it every day, right? We're bringing it into the forefront, right? I don't feel much like playing guitar, right? Don't feel much like reciting Shakespeare, right? This solidity and compound mass, right? Go to church, hold who's dear to you, uplift your soul to God, right? Know that life is not an accident, right? Pray for me, pray for Quentin, share it, comment, subscribe, right? Help bring this to an amicable resolution, right? Otherwise, we're just mortal enemies. There's nothing else. God bless.